From the moment it was announced, the race swap, gender swap Robyn Hood made for a modern audience for Canadian television looked like a cringe disaster. All the advertisements, all the promotional material, it really looked cringe, especially when we saw that not only was Robyn Hood race and gender swapped, but actually every single protagonist is a person of color. And by the way, the villains, they're all white. Who could have possibly imagined that? But then very quietly, it actually premiered on Canadian television, and not very many people were talking about it until the director decided to blame all of the bad reviews that it received on racists. And he blamed YouTubers who had made fun of his show before it even came out. Robyn Hood director melts down over series' negative reception, claims show is being review bombed by racists. And the funny thing about this, you can go look at my videos, because this guy in his TikTok or Instagram reel that he made, he very specifically targeted me and my channel out on one of the reasons that his thing got review bombed. The crazy thing is, you can look at my channel, you can see I've made 5 videos about this woke Robyn Hood garbage. One was in February of 2022 when it got announced, and then 2 more, August 24th and August 25th of this year. A month before this thing came out. I haven't talked about it since it came out. Neither had anybody, except I think maybe Az and Disbrew may have had reviews out. That's it. But certainly I hadn't talked about it until then. Well, he blamed us for the bad reviews. It must be the reason that his show got bad ratings. Couldn't possibly be that people just didn't like it. Couldn't possibly be that a lot of people had problems with it. It must have just been because YouTubers said bad things about it and mocked and laughed at it before it came out. Well, since that has happened, since he decided to draw so much attention to it and more people found out that the series even existed, well, Robyn Hood has gone from a 1.6 to a 1.1. This might be the worst rated IMDb show in history. Keep in mind, it can't go down to a 0 or something like that. The worst theoretical number you could have is a 1.0. That's it, because you can only give something a 1 star to a 10 star. And I even said, you know what? I'm sure there's people out there that haven't watched it, just gave it a fake 1 star. In the same way, there's people that probably didn't watch it, gave it a fake 10 star. People in his Instagram comments. But he is not stopping talking about this for one very specific reason. This guy needs to make excuses, and he needs to portray anybody who's talking bad about this as a racist or some sort of racial narrative behind why they don't like the series. Here's the truth, Director X. You know, when you start off by taking a character, you know, a European folklore, and immediately race swapping and gender swapping it, there's going to be people that have a problem with that. There's going to be people who that story means something to them. They might have a problem with it from the get-go. Not going to deny that. That probably is the case. One of the reasons, if you want to tell a story like this, maybe you should come up with your own original shit instead of bastardizing something else. But the reality also is that when you watch this show, if you actually give it a chance, it's one of the most cringe things I've ever seen. I did watch the first episode, haven't watched the second, don't know if I plan to. It was really bad, but I'm not surprised that it's getting this type of feedback. But this was his immediate reaction. It must be a review bomb. He even argued with me, even if people watched it and give it a bad score, it's still a review bomb. And he even tried to justify it like this. You've all arrived. I love how these folks see an obvious review bomb and say VPN. Y'all play really stupid. Man, if only he hadn't suggested people from other countries use a VPN. I guess that excuse is out the window. But if you look at his timeline now, this is someone who has 26,000 followers, is getting almost no interaction, 2 likes on that, ratio to hell. Tweeting out Yellow Flash's video, demanding to come on our YouTube channels and talk to us face to face, because this is hip hop. We got beef. 8 likes, 124 comments. He's tried to get on Gary's stream. He's tried to get on Az's stream. He's tried to get on my show. Az was going to have him on. He had a conversation all set up. They were going to talk. They were going to speak. And then he decided to blame all the bad reviews on racism. This is not somebody who's going to be good faith. This is simply someone who's trying to blame other people for the poor reviews for his show. And what's going to happen? He's going to try to take one person that says something in the chat. He's going to try to take one snippet here, one snippet there, and try to create that, you know what? The only reason my show is getting bad reviews, it must just be because of all these racists out there. The reality is, Director X, you can continue to tweet and continue to beg on to get on these shows because, quite frankly, I guarantee you, That Gary has a bigger audience than whatever your fucking audience on Canadian television is. I don't think it even cracked the top 30 in terms of ratings that night for Canadian television, and that's saying something. Director X is continuing to melt down, continuing to beg to be on streams, and claim that you can't deny it's just because of racism that my shit is getting absolutely annihilated. Where was the review bombing for Wakanda Forever or Black Panther? I seem to remember there's a lot of black people in that. Maybe I'm misremembering shit. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe there's just a ton of white people everywhere in those movies. I seem to remember that there was a lot of black people in those movies. Where are the review bombs? Why didn't Black Panther get 1.1? Why didn't Wakanda Forever get a 1.1? Strange how that works, isn't it? Strange that it's only a review bomb when it's something that's absolutely hot fucking garbage and nearly everyone unanimously thinks that you start trying to make up these excuses. He did it from the beginning. He already basically had a conversation set up to talk to Az, a nice cordial conversation, until he showed that it was all bad faith and tried to excuse his show failing on racism. And now all he wants to do is try to talk to the people that he thinks are to blame, the audiences that are out there, the trolls that are out there, that it's all because he made a show with black people. Maybe it's because you made a racially charged show that's all in on woke identity politics. And beyond that is poorly written and reads like a CW show. That's how people feel about it. A cringe CW show. That's how Robin Hood feels. And that's why it's getting miserable ratings. This thing is a catastrophic failure, and he just continues to make it worse by going on social media, getting 5 likes on his platform, and demanding to address people that didn't like his show, and blaming it all on racism.